Hi everybody, Clark Smith here. I'm the winemaker for Winesmith, and welcome to my cooking show, Gracious Living in the Time of Corona. It's an opportunity when we're sheltering in place that we get to take care of ourselves in our own kitchens, and I want to give you a series of recipes that will make your life pleasant, and hopefully after this time is over, you'll be still enjoying the economy and the freshness and all of the other advantages of cooking at home. I just want to make it a little less daunting for you. So today we're going to do something festive and fun. I've gotten a lot of requests for more vegetarian dishes, and so I'm going to offer something here. It's a traditional Chinese dish, Hunanese dish called gumbao jiding. Jiding is the Chinese word for chicken. And so what we're going to do is use a tofu equivalent. And so everything here is organic and vegetarian. Actually, I don't know, the Harvest Bristol Cream Sherry is organic, but show him good. And very vegan, I'm sure. So anyway, I'll take you through all the ingredients here, and we'll show you how we're going to construct the dish. The first thing we have to do, like any stir fry, we want to have something to put the dish on. And so, of course, white rice is a great idea, and if you have a rice cooker, I strongly recommend them. I don't recommend that you attempt to make rice a pot on the skillet. You really want one of these hot pots, or of course the NutriPot that we use all the time is another great way to go. But you want something that will get it right and then turn off and not spill all over your stove. Now, this is going to be a keto-friendly dish, and so we're going to offer a lot of alternatives. But there's nothing, if you like rice, you can just put this on white rice, and I'm sure you know how to prepare that. So what I'm going to use is cauliflower. You know, I've shown you before that you can just take a fresh cauliflower head and rice it up, and then boil it for a very short time in water. But today I'm just going to use this bag of riced cauliflower that I got from Costco, and it's a pretty neat package because there's nothing to it. They don't even want you to open it or vent it or anything. They just want you to put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that because it'll need to cool down. And so it'll be ready whenever the dish is ready for it. I'm just going to pop it in here. That's it. Let it go for 5 minutes. And you don't have to think about it anymore. All right. So then instead of jiding, instead of chicken, we're going to use tofu. So traditionally, you can take the firm tofu that you get in a Chinese market and cut it into 1-inch squares or 3/4 of an inch squares, and fry that, basically sort of deep fry it in a bunch of peanut oil and pull it out. And that's what I've done for 20 years. But then I came across this idea. You go to any Chinese market and they will have several different configurations of tofu that's already fried. So that saves you a big step there. And I'm just going to take this stuff right out of the bag. And you know, those pieces are not exactly bite-sized, so I'm going to slice them in half a little bit. And then I'm going to throw them in a bowl here and marinate them while we're preparing the rest of the dish. So now I'm going to marinate this with soy sauce would be fine, but I really like Bragg's aminos. They're a little lighter, and they have a really great, they're kind of like Calvin Klein soy sauce, very rich in flavor and kind of lighter and lower sodium. Harvey's Bristol Cream or any cream sherry, if you want to use one of one of the cheap ones, $5 a bottle. It'll work just fine, but Harvey's is very nice, and I use it in my classes. So then we're going to need 3 scallions here, and so those are already chopped. And we'll use 2 tablespoons. You can use cornstarch, that's traditional for Chinese, but I like arrowroot. I like the way it thickens. It's and it has a lower glycemic index, and so it's much more keto friendly. We'll put in 2 tablespoons of that. All right, so before I put all that together, I'll just go over the rest of the dish. We're going to stir fry some squares of bell pepper with some salt. Here I'm using a shaved sea salt that I really like. We want to just cook these till they're still crisp, and then we'll take them out, dry the oil, and then we're going to brown some ginger. Now, I like fresh ginger. You know, you're going to take ginger and peel it, and you get something like that, and we'll slice that up. But I also like, from Trader Joe's, they have this pre-crushed ginger that I think is just great. Garlic comes the same way, and some other herbs. So you use about 10 of these little cubes, and that'll along with about an ounce of fresh ginger, and that just makes your life a little bit easier. Then we've got 10 cloves of garlic that I'm going to slice up. We'll brown that along with, and then we're going to brown raw peanuts. I'm going to show you how to do this. You get so much more flavor out of a peanut when you brown it, and you don't want to undercook them because then they'll be kind of chewy. So I'll show you just exactly how to get that right. Then we throw all these things together, and that's the dish. We'll be garnishing it with some steamed radish roses that I'm gonna show you how to make, and then we'll touch the whole thing up with sesame oil. Now, in the traditional recipe, you use hot red chili peppers, and you put those in the stir-fry oil and then take them out. But if your family's like mine, you have some people that don't like the hot and other people that do. And so the way I like to do it is to have 2 kinds of sesame oil. I love this Eden Select brand. So they have a toasted sesame oil, and then with hot peppers in it, which I prefer. But you put both of those on the table, and people get to determine their own hotness that way. Okay, so let's get our marinade set up here. It's very easy. Just you need a 1/4 cup each of these Bragg's aminos and of the cream sherry. Aged cream sherry is just a wonderful flavor. And so then we need our thickener right here. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of arrowroot. And you notice that I'm buying it in bulk. So much cheaper that way. All right, and this is a very savory dish, what the Orientals call umami flavor, very, very rich in this dish. And so it's going to want a really a flavorful red wine to go with it. And I've chosen the Winesmith Malbec that we just bottled. It'll have some really refined tannins and some nice kind of medium bodied and grapefruit, and it'll just be a perfect accompaniment to this stuff. So, all right, now we're just going to let this marinade for a little while we're preparing the rest of the dish and doing the stir fry, and then we'll toss it all in at the end. Oh, I forgot my scallions. Those got to go in there too. Get that fresh onion flavor in there. We don't want to fry the scallions. We want them to be very fresh, and so that's why we pop them in at the end. But meanwhile, we're going to let the tofu get suffused with with these oniony and umami and sherry flavors. So let's go ahead and get our radish roses out of the way. Very easy. We just want to cut down on, not all the way down, and then twirl and cut again. And you see how the rose petal look kind of emerges with a little star in the middle there. It's very pretty, and we'll do 4 of these. We'll steam them a little bit to garnish the dish. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of water here, and I'm going to pop these in the microwave for 90 seconds, and they'll still be crisp, but that'll give them a little softness. The next step is we're going to fry these peppers. You take a pepper and you just push it in like that. See that? And that's going to take out all of the guts of the pepper. It makes it very easy. You just cut it into wedges. What we're waiting for here is to see a little wisp of smoke. So we're going to heat this wok up to the smoke point, and then I'm going to put some oil in it. And there you go. You see that? You see that little bit of smoke there? That's what we're after. And now I need enough oil that I can sear these bell peppers. So then we're just going to pop all this in here, and now we're going to move it around. That's the idea of a stir fry. Just make it, the French sauté idea is the same. Sauté means jump. So we're going to keep that stuff jumping, and it turns out we can make it cook faster and crisper if we put in some of this nice salt, and that'll be added to the dish. We do not want to get past the fresh stage. The first thing is the sliced ginger, not the frozen stuff. We'll put that in later. But right now we just want to brown that ginger, and these pieces that I've made are kind of bite-sized, and so they're going to brown and get crispy and just develop some lovely flavors. And then right on top of that is now we put in our sliced garlic cloves. We're going to bring them to the same state, so just a little bit brown. See how fast that happens? And then the last thing we want is to bring in the peanuts. So we've got quite a bit of peanuts here. That's got to go. And we're going to brown these. Okay, so now we're starting to get there. So you can see that all the peanuts are brown, and we're going to have that nice toasted, roasted peanut character. And we still have nothing but oil. There's no water in the dish yet. And so for that reason, now is the perfect time to bring the ginger from Trader Joe's and toss that in there and get it browned too. Blackened all of our ginger, and we've got the peanuts just where we want them. Isn't that kind of beautiful? Now, we're going to go to aqueous. All right, so that means here we've got all of our tofu, and we're going to, the nicely marinated, it's got a lot of water. So now that marinade isn't really enough, and you can make a sauce that the arrowroot wants. And so now we bring in some water and start with about a half a cup, and that's gonna go find that arrowroot, and we're gonna have the beginnings of a beautiful sauce. So it won't thicken until the arrowroot comes out, and pretty soon we're gonna see all this being coated. The liquid's coming out, and you're starting to see some thickening and some coating of the sauce and all the flavors melding together. And you just have to kind of play with it. You have to see when it starts getting thickening and gooey and needing more water. So you see that the liquid is starting to get absorbed completely by the tofu, and I think a little more water is going to be needed here. Right there is getting to be just about the nice thick sauce that we want. So I'm going to turn it off. And now we'll bring in the drained peppers. Bring the whole dish together just like that. And now we're ready to plate. All right, so we're going to take some of this rice cauliflower from Costco and make ourselves a beautiful bed here. You know, I really like this better than pasta. It has more flavor, so doesn't that look nice? And then we're gonna just take our dish. So then we garnish with a steamed radish rose here, and put that in there, and we also will add some toasted sesame seeds, and then we take this wonderful aromatic hot spicy toasted sesame oil, and there you have it. Let's sit down with our Malbec and see what we think of this thing. So I want to talk about this Diamond Ridge Malbec that I was privileged to be able to make. Now Malbec always has well-behaved tannins. It's medium-bodied. It's never harsh. It's always sort of refined, but has a lot of richness. Malbec's always loaded with strawberries, but you never see the kind of minerality, the palate energy that Lake County volcanic soils can impart, and you have it here. So it's such an energetic wine that I think it's really just perfect for this kind of dish that has a lot of meatiness. So let's just see what we got here. I'm going to start with a piece of this tofu with some with some peanut there. So the peanuts, you chomp into them. They're just so rich in flavor. They're not bitter, they're not burnt, or anything like that. They look like they might be, but that's not really true. And to have rice or this cauliflower nice bed of something sort of neutral, But to me, cauliflower has more flavor than rice, and so I like it partly because it's part of my keto practice, but it's also just has a little more flavor. So then, let's get into these. Nice, crisp, flavorful bell peppers. They have different flavors associated with the colors. I think the red are a little sweeter. The dish is so rich. So let's take a minute here to see how it goes with the Malbec. So much fruit, so much palate energy, and enough ample tannin, refined tannin, that it kind of relieves the very rich meaty character of the dish. So there you go. Whenever I'm invited to a vegetarian potluck, this is a dish that I take, and it, let's just say, evaporates very quickly. So, salute.